Here's some quick shots of how we're setting up our engine oil cooling. So previously we were running one of these die cast, probably derail, I forget how you say it, derail, or transgo or something like that. Oil cooler sandwich adapters, so it just allows you to run your engine oil out to a cooler and then back in through the filter, or I can't remember if it goes through the filter first and then through the cooler, but either way we had this die cast piece and it was fine, it served its function, but the Canton product is just night and day in terms of how clean it is. So it's that little black piece back there, just threw on a cheap engine oil filter, so forgive me for that, but very nice billet mount, very well machined. Anodizing is great on it, and so we're running this in conjunction with what I think is probably one of their neatest new products. By the way, that cooler adapter is 22-545. This is on a small block Ford, which uses the 3/4 16 threaded portion. And so we're running this in conjunction with the 82-160, the long heat exchanger. So this is one of their neatest products. I think I saw it, can't remember if it came out a year or two ago. We use the same thing on the race car. I like this for engine oil cooling, and the reason why is that I can run it off of coming out of the engine, so utilizing the coolant that's still rather warm, because what we want to do is keep the engine oil up at the temperature such that you can at least boil off as much condensation as you can. So really trying to hit that, you know, plus or minus 212 mark to boil off any moisture to keep the water out of your engine oil. So I run it on my engine out of the coolant system, and what I'll do is it'll run in here and then out this one. And it's important, I haven't exactly clocked it yet. I need to see how it's going to fit in my engine. You don't want to run it upside down, and I'm twisting my hose here, I recognize that. But what you want to do, you want to keep as much fluid in there as possible for as long as possible. So by plumbing it in here, which is likely going to be my lower point, and plumbing it out up here, I'll be able to make sure that the whole thing stays full, in addition to trying to try to keep this thing rotated in such a manner that my ports are always coming up out at the top. That'll minimize any of your air volume in there and let you maximize your heat transfer. It's full of ports and passages, so what it does is it has a significant number of tubes that run through there, and they're all welded in place, and then they're put into this can, and then the ends are welded on. And what's happening is you have all your coolant that's flowing through the ID of those small tubes that are in there, and then on the OD of those small tubes, it's passing around all of your other fluid that you're trying to maintain a temperature on, which in my case is engine oil. So it's a very effective compact design. So in my case, this is replacing a tube section that I was having to run on here to mate up with my radiator. So for me, this isn't adding any length or taking away anything, and I can just have this be angled such that it'll drop right down to my fittings on my sandwich adapter, clean and effective, and then I pump that fluid right out to the radiator to get rid of all the heat. So another product, in my opinion, that I think is really good from Canton.